This starts with House Foreign Affairs Committee majority. President Trump is undoubtedly the president of peace. By ending several wars, he's doing exactly what the UN should have been doing all along. Under his strong leadership, we're restoring peace through strength and finally putting America first. This is on Fox News.
Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan.
You think he might deserve the Nobel Peace Prize by now? And what did Obama get his Nobel Peace Prize for? He was only president for, it wasn't even a year. He was president for like 7 months and they gave him the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. And I think it was for some like climate change bullshit or something like that. Absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months.
Yeah, you did.
It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it.
Just goes to show how powerful the presidency can really be.
Things instead of
in the right hands.
The United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them.
Absolutely ridiculous. Isn't that fucked up? Probably because there might be some financial advantage in doing so. So I've got quite a few of these. I've got like 5 or 6 of these clips because he gave a speech for, I think it was a little bit over an hour. So I grabbed just some of the clip notes from it because, of course, I don't have enough time to play the entire thing. But so I'll just play just a few more clips here where it looks like he's talking about self-sabotage of industrialized nations.
The entire globalist concept of asking successful industrialized nations to inflict pain on themselves and radically disrupt their entire societies must be rejected completely and totally, and it must be immediate. That's why in America I withdrew from the fake Paris Climate Accord.
Good.
Where, by the way, America was paying so much more than every country.
Yep, and they're all pissed off about it.
China didn't have to pay until 2030. Russia was given an old standard that was easy to meet.
What the fuck? They don't have to pay until 2030.
90 standard.
Why? They've got the #2 biggest economy on the planet. The fuck are they waiting for?
For the United States, we're supposed to pay like $1 trillion. And
unfucking believable.
I said, this is another scam.
Yep, the climate
scam. The fact is, the United States has been taken advantage of by the world for many, many years, but not any longer, as you probably noticed. I unleashed massive energy production and signed historic executive orders to hunt for oil. But we don't have to do much hunting because we have the most oil of any nation, anywhere, oil and gas in the world. And if you add coal, we have the most of any nation in the world. Clean, I call it clean, beautiful coal. You can do things today with coal that you couldn't have done 10 years ago, 15 years. So I have a little standing order in the White House. Never use the word coal, only use the words clean, beautiful coal. Sounds much better, doesn't it? But we stand ready to provide any country with abundant, affordable energy supplies if you need them, when most of you do. We're proudly exporting energy all over the world. We're now the largest exporter.
All right, moving on to the next one. Climate change, the greatest con job ever perpetuated. This is from the U.S. Department of Energy. They reposted this.
Climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons.
Every year, it's only 12 more years, right? Next year, oh my God, we only got 12 years until runaway global warming. It's unstoppable.
They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail.
Yeah, matter of fact, I actually just saw this today. I almost included it in the episode, but with regard to Scotland, I want to say it was Scotland in the well, yeah, I think it was Scotland. I'll stand on that. I'm pretty sure it was, but they were talking about wind turbines and wind energy, and the turbines are supposed to be installed for a period of 20 years, if not longer. However, time and time again, the ones that they installed about a decade ago, they keep failing. So they have to dismantle the entire wind turbine, and they have to essentially throw it into a landfill, which they have been doing. But they're taking up tons and tons of space in local landfills, and it's becoming a serious problem, and they have no idea how to address it. So an obvious problem that's going to take a while to fix. From what I've heard, I don't know if it's in the United States exclusively, but apparently they're burying them after they've been up and generating power for 10, 15 years. They'll dismantle it and they'll just bury it in the ground. Like, how is that helping the environment? How is that a good thing exactly? Please explain that.
And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about
a lot. I don't know about everything.
And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail.
100% correct. He's absolutely correct. And we know this because we put over $1 trillion into renewable energy, and our electrical bills are just going up and up. They're not going down as the Democrats promised. They haven't. In fact, later in this episode, I did grab something from the New York Post with regard to a solar farm that they are decommissioning in 2027 after they had spent tens of billions, or no, not tens. I think it was like 2 billion, or it was in the billions of dollars that they spent on just one single solar farm, and they're dismantling it because the cost of operation is too heavy. They're not getting any return on investment. It's costing more money to maintain it than it is to actually produce the electricity in the first place. It is a massive, massive scam.
And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have
Nuclear
nothing
energy,
in common
folks.
with, your country is going to fail.
And hydroelectric.
I'm the president of the United States, but I worry about Europe.
Oh, yeah, I worry about Europe, too. There's a lot of problems going on in Europe. I'm not so sure if renewable energy is the biggest problem that they're facing. I would say it's pretty far from it. You know, here in about 50 years, Europe's going to be an Islamic republic. I think that's something that might be concerning to them. But anyway, that's not something to discuss today. That's for another time or another day, I suppose. So this one, Department of Energy, once again, looks like the AI green bankruptcy that he's talking about.
Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work.
They don't.
They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great.
Especially with AI initiatives, especially with AI, because AI is 24/7. These AI data centers are going to consume an enormous amount of electricity to the point where we essentially we don't really have to reinvent the wheel, but we have to come up with real innovative solutions for energy. And they're doing so with those small modular nuclear reactors, which I know I've talked about time and time again. I'm just so excited about these things because they're going to be mass producing these things. Just one plant in Tennessee, they're going to be producing over 100 per year by, I believe it's 2027. It's going to take them a couple of years to build the plant and to get these modular nuclear reactors in production. But each one of them will produce enough energy to power tens of thousands of homes. So initially, they're not going to use them for residential power generation. They're going to use them for these AI data centers and other manufacturing facilities. But down the road, they're talking about opening up more of these manufacturing facilities. Europe already committed, the UK already committed to buying a bunch of these modular nuclear reactors because I believe that they're bringing a lot of their AI infrastructure online, which they're going to piggyback off of our AI infrastructure development, which was part of Trump's trip to the UK last week, where he discussed that, and they signed some like energy initiatives together. So it's all great news. But as far as wind and solar, it is an absolute financial catastrophe. I mean, he couldn't be more correct on that.
The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate.
Yep, waste of money.
They have to be rebuilt all the time.
Are you listening, Democrats?
Rust and rot.
You getting triggered
Most
yet?
expensive energy ever conceived, and It's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China a lot of credit. They build them, but they very few wind farms. So why is it that they build them and they send them all over the world, but
but they don't have any?
they barely use them? You know what they use?
Why,
coal.
indeed? Yeah, they use coal.
They use gas.
Tons of coal.
They use almost anything, but they don't like wind.
Yeah, right now, China, they are currently in the process, under construction. They have 27 coal power plants, major coal power plants that are currently under construction in China.
But they sure as hell like selling the windmills. Europe, on the other hand, has a long way to go, with many countries being on the brink of destruction because of the green energy agenda. And I give a lot of credit to Germany.
I think they're smiling.
You think they're smiling? Germany was being led down a very sick path, both on immigration, by the way, and on energy. They were going green, and they were going bankrupt. And the new leadership came in, and they went back to where they were, with fossil fuel and with nuclear.
He's talking about Germany, isn't he?
It's now safe. You can do it properly. But they went back to where they were, and they opened up a lot of different plants, energy producing plants.
I need to pay
and
attention.
They're doing well. I give Germany a lot of credit for that.
Okay, all right, yeah.
They've said
I thought he might have said Germany.
Disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents.
Not good. And it won't go broke.
It's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, like Trump, with regard to Germany, I mean, he's got no dog in the fight. He just sees it for what it is. And he knows that Germany knows. A lot of it is just all of this, virtue signaling for all of these like progressives and these nonprofits and NGOs and all that bullshit. I'm sure they got all of that over in Germany too. All right, anyway, moving on to the next one from the House Foreign Affairs Committee majority. So let's give this one a play. Is it just, all right, hold on. It's not all quoted, but Hamas terrorists should not be rewarded for their horrific and barbaric actions. Recognizing a state of Palestine will not lead to peace. It only brings more bloodshed. Hamas can end the war today by releasing all the hostages. They don't have that in quotes, so that's why I felt it was necessary to read it.
As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for
how are they doing on the
their
phone
atrocities.
Up there?
This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire. Instead of giving to Hamas and giving so much, because they've taken so much, this could have been solved so long ago. But instead of giving in to Hamas's ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now.
Yeah, is one of those demands, those ransom demands, is that they must declare Palestine a state, because and is that what all of these countries are doing? Is that the purpose? I haven't heard that anywhere. It's just I don't know, kind of an educated guess, I guess.
Just release the hostages now.
Which they're not going to do. They're not going to do that. And everybody knows that. I think everybody knows they're never going to release the hostages. It's going to have to get down to a point where they finally locate where they are and then just, do whatever it is that they got to do. And that's if there's any still alive. Are they still routinely insisting to show proof of life? Or has it really been like a year or 2 years since we've had any contact with any of these hostages? I mean, if they can't show proof of life, I think that might be the time for them to move on in, because, what are we doing here? I'm assuming that they just simply don't know where they are. And there's really no way of knowing for sure if all the hostages are in the same place. They may have one hostage in each different location, 50 different locations. I don't know. I'm not read up on it at all. I'm just, throwing a random shot in the dark on that. All right, so we have one more here. So it has to do with UN having a lot of potential. So, and a lot of it's being wasted.
It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases...
Yeah, isn't that what the fuck the United Nations is there for? To try to make all these peace deals, all of these deals that Trump has been making virtually by himself in his administration.
The United Nations did not even try to help in any of them.
Unbelievable.
I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both
that really happened? What the fuck? The escalator broke?
And then a teleprompter that didn't work.
Yeah, I did hear that. I actually tweeted that earlier today, reposted something that somebody else posted. Like, apparently the teleprompter stopped working, and my opinion was that they purposely sabotaged it because there's a lot of people there that really don't like Trump. So they thought maybe we can get back at him for disabling his prompters without realizing that actually President Trump's pretty good without a prompter. I mean, he's pretty famous for going on those campaign trail events, and he would have only like a 7-minute speech typed out, and he would go on for 2 hours just bantering with the crowd, and yeah, like apparently like his average speech while he's on the campaign trail only amounted to like 7 or 8 minutes on the prompter, but he would go on for like 2 hours, man. He's pretty incredible with that.
These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations: a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this isn't New York City,
I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN...
Yeah, but the United Nations is doing the exact opposite. Instead, they're caving to whatever demands that Hamas has, and they're recognizing Palestine as a state. And I just shared that yesterday on my episode, where 4 countries, and I'm sure there was more than 4, there were only 4 that I found, but there were probably a lot more than 4 countries that formally recognize Palestine as a state, according to their country. It's absolutely insane.
There's such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter.
Yeah, and they do
nothing. And then
nothing.
never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action.
Absolutely. He's 100% correct on that. I mean, I'd be curious to know, like, what kind of power do they really have other than just organizing and just talking about stuff going on in the world? I mean, I'm sure they've got to have some like actual tangible, I don't know, influence or power to do something. I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder, really. So it looks like we got one more here with regard to, looks like Russia.
China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. But inexcusably, even NATO countries have not cut off much Russian energy and Russian energy products, which, as you know, I found out about 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't happy. Think of it. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one?
Yeah, really.
In the event that Russia is not ready to make...
Yeah, that's kind of ironic, that Europe is standing for Ukraine, and they're inviting them into NATO, and they're supplying Ukraine with money. Or no, hold on. We are supplying Europe with money, and Europe is taking that money. Or no, hold on. I do have it backwards. We're giving Europe weapons. Weapons are going to Ukraine from Europe. So Europe is paying for the weapons that we're producing in the United States. We're sending those weapons over to Europe. Europe is handing them over to Ukraine so Ukraine can fight a war against Russia. Meanwhile, Europe is basically funding the war for Russia by buying energy from Russia. It's so fucked up, and it's so obvious. It's absolutely insane,
man. To end the war, then, the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to this city. We have an ocean in between.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, the United States almost doesn't really have any real skin in the game. Not really. It's on the other side of the planet. And Europe borders with Russia and basically borders with Ukraine as well. So, yeah, we've got an entire ocean. We got 2 oceans separating us from the rest of the world. We're good. You know, we've got Mother Nature on our side. But, yeah, I mean, like, it's right on Europe's doorstep. And not only are they funding it, they're just allowing it to just keep continuing, where I guess Europe would say, what, oh, you suppose that we buy our energy from who? From you, from the United States? Well, I mean, that gives you a big financial advantage, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, it would, but at least the money wouldn't be going to Russia. And besides, how much money are we paying for NATO again? Isn't it like in the God knows how many billions of dollars a year that we're putting into NATO? We're paying way more than our fair share, and we have been probably for decades at this point. So chalk it up to that. Since we've been paying for NATO, an insane amount of it for so long, start buying oil and coal from us. Quit buying it from Russia. We'll give you a fair price, and then we'll just leave it at that.
You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that.
It's like these people are too afraid to say this.
They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here. I'm sure they're thrilled to hear me speak about it, but that's the way it is. I like to speak my mind.
Why is he saying the quiet part out
truth.
loud? Oh my God, why is he doing? But it's so obvious, man. It's so obvious. It's absolutely ridiculous that we sell weapons to Europe, and then they hand the weapons over to the Ukraine. But meanwhile, Europe is buying energy from Russia, essentially allowing Russia to fund the war against Ukraine. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. All right, so anyway, this came from President Trump from his Truth Social, posted by GOP. It was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was very well received. It focused very much on energy and migration, immigration. I have been talking about this for a long period of time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these 2 important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. The teleprompter was broken, and the escalator came to a sudden halt as we were riding up to the podium, but both of those events probably made the speech more interesting than it would have been otherwise. It is always an honor to speak at the United Nations, even if their equipment is somewhat faulty. Make America great again. All right. And I think that, yeah, that wraps up the UN.